Hi folks, Darrell Sloan here, author of I Universe, Demolishing and Rebuilding Spirituality for a Scientific Age. Check out the trailer on my main channel page for more information. We're going to talk today about John Wyndham's second published novel, which is super rare. It's called Foul Play Suspected. It's not science fiction. It's essentially a crime novel, a detective novel. If you look a little bit back on my channel, I did a review of The Curse of the Burdens, which is his first published novel, and it's even harder to get. It's impossible to find, apparently. There's only one copy of it that's known to exist physically. However, Audible came to the rescue. Both of these books are available on Audible for an Audible subscription. Which is great. I finally get to read the rare books by my favorite author. So, what's John Wyndham like as a crime author rather than a science fiction author? Fair. I think he's brilliant as a science fiction author. I can only say it's fair as a crime author, and I'm kind of glad he went in the direction of science fiction. But of course, science fiction's more my thing. So, this book, Foul Play Suspected, let me take you through the very beginning of the story just to sort of whet your appetite. The principal character is a woman called Phillida. She is coming back to the United Kingdom after living abroad, where she married someone, and it was an abusive relationship, and her husband is now dead. She's now returning back to her family home. It's a family that has some money behind it. They live in some sort of manor house. So she's expecting to find her father there and the servants when she arrives back out of the blue, having been gone for several years. But there's no one there. The place seems to be derelict and it's all locked up. And she finds out that her father is essentially missing. So the story mostly revolves around what happened to Phillida's father. Is he alive or dead? And it gets even more intriguing when in an early part of the story there's a kidnapping attempt on her. So what on earth is going on in the background of this story? So a police detective gets involved, her cousins get involved. There are some exciting scenes in this that are really gripping to read. But I have to say that a lot of the story is taken up, it's very talky. Characters are reflecting on what's going on. What do we know? What do we not know? What can we theorize from what we know maybe going on? This sort of thing. And while that's good, and I did appreciate it because in complicated stories I tend to have trouble maybe remembering everything. So I did appreciate that. But at the same time, it makes the story kind of plod along, so it's not so good. And so pros and cons to that. There is a pretty high octane finish to the story, which I liked. Like I said, just the getting there takes a while, and it's by no means a long novel. I think it would probably, it was an audiobook that I listened to, but I think it would equate to somewhere between 200 and 300 pages, most likely. So yeah, I did enjoy it. If you really want to get your hands on a physical copy of this, it is possible to get an original first edition. Now remember, John Wyndham didn't become famous until The Day of the Triffids in the early 1950s. This was published, I think, in 1935. And it was published, I believe, under one of John Wyndham's other names, John Bainan, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what, if you go on eBay looking for this, you may get one eventually. You can set up a search for that. I was really jealous of someone I was speaking to on Facebook Messenger who was like a John Wyndham super fan, had a whole shelf full of first editions lined up, including Foul Play Suspected. And I was sort of saying, look, would you be willing to loan me that? Just so I could scan it in, and I'll treat it really well and I'll get it back to you, because I was conscious of the fact that it's out of print. John Wyndham's dead, and it would be wonderful if a digital copy of this rare book existed. Even if I just had it for my personal use, you know, because technically an author has to be dead in the UK for 70 years before his works become public domain. But I just really wanted to read it. It's rare, Wyndham. But imagine my surprise. It was either just last year or earlier this year. I think it was earlier this year that Foul Play Suspected was brought back into print in the United States by Penguin Random House. Kills me that the Americans get better treatment than we do here in the UK. We can't get it in paper form or in ebook form here in the UK. Maybe Penguin, who are an English company, maybe they will release it here again, which I would like to add it to my ebook collection. But I'll take the audiobook, you know, I'll take the audiobook, and I did. So happy to have read it, but I will be keeping my eye. Even though I thought it was only a fair book, I still want it as part of my John Wyndham collection. Yeah, an interesting read. So you don't have to go looking for a first edition hardback if you're in the United States. You can actually go right now over to Amazon in the US and purchase a paperback copy. You can probably even import it in the UK. You just can't buy the ebook, which sort of sucks for me. But anyway, that's a little review, spoiler free, of Foul Play Suspected by John Wyndham. Alright folks, take care. The sky